Hey folks, and welcome to Greg's Golf Shack. Most golfers will blame their slice on an over-the-top swing, and while that can be a major contributor, it's not the main reason we're slicing the ball out into the trees. The reason the ball slices is because the angle of our club face is open relative to our swing path. That imparts side spin on the ball. It's that spinning of the ball sideways that causes those big curving ball flights that get us into trouble and cost us a lot of distance. So we can't just blame an over-the-top outside-in swing, because as you can see here, no matter the direction of our swing path, if the face is open relative to that path at impact, it's going to cause that spin and slice the ball. So it's important for us to understand that the angle of our club face is a major influence over our ball flight. And in the case of a slice, we want to avoid an open club face at impact. Now, the first thing we want to check is our ball position. And for the driver, it's suggested we tee the ball up forward in our stance, just inside the instep of our lead foot. During the swing, this allows time for that club face to close. It also gives us an opportunity to hit up on the ball, hopefully creating some long bombs. But there are various moments in our golf swing where the opening of the club face can happen, influencing our impact position, and it's very reflective of our wrist angles. Whether at setup and into the takeaway, at the top of our golf swing, or even at impact, our wrist angles can determine what is happening to the club face. So let's have a look at these different moments in the swing and fix this slicing problem. And I'll be using the HackMotion Wrist Sensor and app to help demonstrate the wrist angles and provide the actual data of what's happening with our wrists during the swing. A weak grip can lead to an open club face at impact, but what do we mean by a weak grip? In a neutral grip, we want to feel like the hands are coming together on the club and the backs of both hands are kind of pointing side to side. With a weak grip, the hands are often turned over like this, with the lead hand feeling like it's pointing more towards the ground and the trail hand over top of the grip. With a strong grip, we often have the lead hand, the back of the lead hand, pointing up more towards the sky, and the trail hand reaching deeper underneath the grip. So what's the problem with a weak grip? Because of the speed and momentum of the downswing, our hands and arms are going to want to return to a neutral position, and that's going to rotate that club face open and cause that slice. So if you're someone who has a weak grip, you might want to try strengthening your grip either to the neutral position or even try a little bit of a strong grip. Now, I find some folks unintentionally adopt a weak grip because when you set a driver on the ground, many models will lie open just sitting there and rest. And people will come up and take their grip and then turn the club to square it up to their ball in their setup position. If this is you, what I recommend is before you get in your setup position, turn the club to a square position and then grip the club so you're already in a good position and you're not turning your hands to try to square the club. Starting with a good grip can help guide us through the rest of that swing and hopefully help avoid that slice. The top of our backswing sets the stage for a good transition and downswing, so we want to be in a good spot. Now, this is a common spot where most slicers will have too much wrist extension at the top or a cupping of the wrists. This opens up that club face. And you can see when I look at the HackMotion here, I've got upwards of 40 degrees extension in that wrist. We'd like it to be flatter. This is what makes the HackMotion so good because I don't have to look at my video after to see where my wrist was. I don't have to turn and look at my wrists in the swing. I can just look down at where the ball position would be and I can see the angles of my wrist right there in the app. Now, it can be difficult to adjust our wrist positions at the top during our golf swing, so we need to rely on a good takeaway and backswing to get us there effectively. Now, one of the places your slice might begin is a takeaway that starts too quickly with the wrists. In fact, some folks will whip that club back to a position that's parallel to the ground, and they haven't even started turning their body yet. This creates this extension in the wrist, and from there, that extension is only going to increase as we turn back into a backswing. You can see that the HackMotion reports an extension of the wrist. And if that's the case, we want to adopt a one-piece takeaway that will help us keep those wrists a little bit flatter. Now, a great drill to get a feel for the one-piece takeaway is to create a barrier. I like to use my golf bag, and take your setup position and try that one-piece takeaway, bringing the club back until it hits that golf bag. And I even like to turn my head with this sequence at first so I can see that my torso, everything is turning. I'm not just breaking my wrists in the takeaway. And once you've practiced that, you can keep your head looking down where the ball would be and try that takeaway back until it hits that club position. I can feel my torso pointing towards the golf bag, meaning I've completed a one-piece takeaway. When it comes to the backswing, many slicers will really try to depend on your dominant side, which is usually your trail side, to develop power in the golf swing. But this isn't always the case. When this happens, as our backswing approaches the top, our dominant side will lift this trail shoulder up, and this will bring our trail elbow out. This straightens up the trail wrist and extends that lead wrist, significantly opening that club face. Just look at the HackMotion there. We're 45 degrees extended at the top. This is a very difficult position to recover from, and it leads to that dreaded over the top and a casting of the club as the wrists try to normalize. The first step is to calm that dominant side and realize that it's not giving you as much power and speed as you think it is. And the second step is to try to flatten our swing at the top and avoid that shrugging trail shoulder. So a drill I like to do for this is to hold your club out in front of you like so, parallel to the ground. Your lead hand is going to be facing down towards the ground, and your trail hand is going to be facing up towards the sky. I've got my hands just beyond shoulder width apart. I'm going to get in my setup position, and I'm going to turn back to close to a top of the swing position, keeping the club parallel to the ground. You can see I just want to bring my lead arm just up to about shoulder height. And you can see what's happening here. If I try to keep my lead wrist flat, it's making my trail wrist flex a little bit. It's bent backward, and it's pointing my elbow down towards the ground, keeping my shoulder low, my trail shoulder. So you can do that turn several times to get that feeling. Slowly narrow your hands together, getting closer to a swing, and feel what's that like to keep that club parallel to the ground until the point when you take your full grip and try that same feeling to flatten that swing. Now, this drill is an exaggerated feeling, but it should help you flatten out that lead wrist and get to a position at the top that feels comfortable. Impact is the make or break moment of how the ball is going to fly off the club face. Like other moments in the swing, having an extended wrist angle at impact will open up that face. Just look at the HackMotion there. We're 34 degrees extended. What we'd like to have is a little bit more of a flatter wrist position through impact. One reason this can happen is when our dominant side is taking over and pushes our lead arm out of the way and end up in that famous chicken wing position. You can see that causes extension in the wrist and the club face is wide open. This is often when we try to save a shot because we've come over the top and we're just hoping to hit the ball somewhere on the golf course. We want the lead arm to win the race to that impact position, backhanding through the ball so we end up with a nice extension out here, and that will help flatten out the wrist and give us a good contact sending the ball down the fairway. Now, a great drill that can give us the feeling of the lead arm racing through impact is to do full swings and let go with the trail hand through impact. Now be careful at first because it's going to surprise you just how fast that lead arm goes through and how much it's going to stretch out your chest. So just try some full swings, letting go of that trail arm. You can see there's a lot of speed and power there, and my lead arm is racing through impact, straightening out and flattening that wrist at that impact position. You can even hit balls with that drill. Then you can put it all together, check your progress with the HackMotion. Folks, I hope you enjoyed those tips and can see how improving our wrist angles can help cure that nasty slice and send that ball down the middle of the fairway with our driver. It's time to stop accommodating the slice by aiming way out into the trees, hoping that the ball will curve back into the fairway, leaving you a mile into the green. Also, spending $500 or $600 on a new driver, despite the technology, isn't going to fix your slice. An open face is an open face. But if you want to improve and you want to see what's happening during your swing, I do recommend the HackMotion. I'll leave some information in the description below. It's a great device that can help you improve your game. Thanks for watching, folks. Please like and subscribe. We'll see you next time on Greg's Golf Shack.